प्रेते सा मनुष्ये अस्तीत्येकेनायमस्तीति चैके एतद्विद्यामनुशिष्टस्त्वयाहं वराणामेष वरस्तृतीयः देवैरत्रापि विचिकित्सितं पुरा न हि सुज्ञेयमणुरेष धर्मः अन्यं वरं नचिकेतो वृणीष्व मामोपरोत्सीरति मा सृजैनं दैवरत्रापि विचिकित्सितं किल त्वं च मृत्योयन्न सुज्ञेयमात्थ वक्ता चास्य त्वादृगन्यो न लभ्यो नान्यो वरस्तुल्य एतस्य कश्चित् शतायुषः पुत्रपौत्रान् वृणीष्व बहून् पशून् हस्तिहिरण्यमश्वान् भूमेर्महदायतनं वृणीष्व स्वयं च जीव शरदो यावदिच्छसि एतत्तुल्यं यदि मन्यसे वरं वृणीष्व वित्तं चिरजीविकां च महाभूमौ नचिकेतस्त्वमेधि कामानां त्वा कामभाजं करोमि ये कामा दुर्लभामर्त्यलोके सर्वान् कामान् छन्दतः प्रार्थयस्व इमा रामाः सरथाः सतूर्या न हि दृशा लम्भनीया मनुष्यैः आभिर्मत्प्रक्ताभिः परिचारयस्व नचिकेतो मरणं मानुप्राक्षीः श्वोभावामर्त्यस्य यदन्तकैतत् सर्वेन्द्रियाणां जरयन्ति तेजः अपि सर्वं जीवितमल्पमेव तवैव वाहास्तव नृत्यगीते न वित्तेन तर्पणीयो मनुष्यो लप्स्यामहे वित्तमद्राक्ष्मचेत्त्वा जीविष्यामो यावदीशिष्यसि त्वं वरस्तु मे वरणीयः स एव अजीर्यताममृतानामुपेत्य जीर्यन्मर्त्यः क्व तदास्थः प्रजानन् अभिध्यायन् वर्णरतिप्रमोदान् अतिदीर्घे जीविते को रमेत यस्मिन्निदं विचिकित्सन्ति मृत्यो यत्साम्पराये महति ब्रूहि नस्तत योऽयं वरो गूढमनुप्रविष्टो नान्यं तस्मान्नचिकेता वृणीते।
हरि ओम। The 26th and the 27th mantra, Nachiketa, as a discriminating seeker, he justifies and informs the teacher that he's ready and he only is interested in the Atma Vidya. He firmly justifies the nature of the sense objects, the nature of the pleasure derived of any object of pleasure in the 26th mantra. In the 27th mantra, he also clarifies the nature of any pursuit of wealth. Wealth in any form is insatiable in nature. Wealth, he says, that since I've seen you, I shall get wealth. How we have interpreted that is, when you are in pursuit of something higher, the natural effect or the consequences, you will be provided with necessary wealth so that you can carry on your pursuit. You may not have wealth you may, in the sense, you will not lead a life of aggrandizement, but you'll always have enough to meet your ends so that your sadhana doesn't get disrupted. My only fear in my life was, what would happen if I can't get established in the sadhana? If I am not able to carry on my sadhana, then I will have to do something else other than this, which was the most unsettling thought in my life in the initial stages. So the firm principle we must understand, we must have faith, is when you pursue the higher, the lower comes to you. And you must surrender to that law. And that's what he says. So the fact that I have audience with you, I will get wealth. The assurance with which Nachiketa talks. So I wouldn't want to waste my boon with just merely pursuing wealth. And man is not satisfied with that pursuit because it's impossible to satisfy the nature of the mind. And we said the nature of the mind is twofold. We said one is, it is unending and it is multifold. So any desire of your pursuit, any object of desire that you pursue, it's unending in nature. So you wouldn't find the fulfillment of that immediate impending desire bringing about a sense of satiation or satisfaction. Tell me any particular desire that you satisfy gives you a sense of, it's only temporal. So the moment you have tasted any desire, the moment you have found success in any satisfaction of a desire, instantly comes lobha, greed. You entertain desire for more of the same desire, or you will entertain better pleasures from varied flavor of the same desire. What I mean is, you may desire a watch, you may buy a watch, but that desire for watch is not going to be satisfied, because when you left the showroom, you have already planted a desire for the next watch, because that which you desire is little more than your capacity of what your purse can buy today, and that is unending. So each desire is unending. It has no end in it. And the second point is, you have many such desires as multifold. So if one falls a prey into this pursuit of trying to find happiness through contact with the world, we said the possibilities are very bleak, because in order to derive happiness from external contact, we need three factors. Vijayji, I'm not able to concentrate. I don't know, how are you able to concentrate?
Hare Krishna. Again, what did I do this time? I'm not moving this time.
That is the reason I'm not able to concentrate. When you are static, I am not able to concentrate, you know.
You got my.
Are you able
got
to
my 100%
concentrate?
focus.
No, I don't know. I'm only checking whether you have got your focus 100%.
But yeah, I'm taking down notes left, right, and center. So yeah,
Good, sir. So, perfect. So, do you remember we said that any external contact with the world, which is primarily derived to seek pleasure or happiness, has three essential ingredients. What are the three essential ingredients or three factors? Do you recall we mentioned of it in the last satsang?
I'll have to check my notes on my phone because I'm on my computer now.
No cheating allowed. No copying allowed.
Is it yeah, got it. Contact with the. This is
I know you got it.
Is this law of diminishing value? Is that the one?
No.
No, then I don't have those. I can't
No
recall.
issue. No issue. As Raghu has commented, the three factors that go in order to experience a sense of pleasantness or happiness, the three factors. First is the subject, the individual. Second is the quality of the object. The third is a perfect harmony or a perfect compatibility between the nature of the subject and the quality of the object. So what we are telling here is what I desire is the nature of the subject, which is the mind. The second is the quality of the object, or what the object can provide for your to a satisfaction. And then there has to be a perfect match between what the subject wants and what the object is being provided for. Now, this compatibility between the subject and object is so unlikely, or the possibility of the permutation combination is so unlikely because of the unique nature of the changing nature of the subject and the object. The desire is constantly subjected to change. The object also is subjected to change. Since the subject and object both are changing, it is almost impossible. Even if you keep attempting to find happiness from the external world, it's impossible to find that happiness which will last. Even if you find it will not going to last. Look at the possibility, look at the probability of getting happiness, and yet look at the foolishness of humanity, that we continue to run behind the external world, thinking happiness isn't something which isn't. Our experience has taught us it is difficult to get that happiness. Even if you get that happiness, it is temporal, and still you devour your entire life in trying to find happiness in something there isn't. Alas, alas. That's why in the next mantra, the 28th mantra, Nachiketa, almost sounds disgusting, almost sound pessimistic, but it is not. In fact, it's pure optimism, full of wisdom. He says, the decaying mortals living in the world, he says. We'll get there. So, out of utter disgust to the sheer meaningless and senseless pursuits of humanity, it just tells of his higher perception, acute awareness of this nature of the mind and the nature of any worldly pursuit. I tell you, if we get grounded in this, that very moment your search will go inward. If you still continue to find happiness in something external, that means you have not understood the nature of worldly happiness. We still continue to foolishly run behind something outward. So whether be it wealth, or any sensual pleasure. You cannot find happiness in the external. Don't depend on it. You may have it, you may not have it, but should not believe that's going to give you that sense of security or inner happiness. Nothing will. And if you're able to align that thought to the next desire that is bothering you, if only I can get my son settled, if only I can get my daughter married, if only I can get the next project, if only I can, my travel is confirmed. Sinaji, I say that and you raise your hand. If only that can happen, if only this can happen. Yes, sir. Yes, Sinha.
Hari Om Guruji. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a question. If we look at our lives from maybe 100 years ago, 50 years ago, the challenge of centering towards inner travel or inner inspection is increasing by the amount of distractions we face. Perhaps 100 years ago, the distractions were much less than today, and it has been constantly increasing. And I'm sure you know what I mean in terms of the internet and the phone, etc. So this poses a greater and greater challenge to individuals, to householders, to be devout in traveling inwards, in seeking by traveling inwards. So my question is, could you please, in a small bite, tell me how I can keep any and every distraction in check with agility, so that this constant and heavy flow of distractions can be dealt with? Because I see it like from last year to this year, there are more distractions. Chat GPT has become a distraction. And next year, God knows what will happen. But yeah, so that was my question. Thank you.
Maybe Setuji wants to answer.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om, sir. Yes, sir.
My answer is, see, sorry. My answer is this, see, this, it's very challenging, but at the same time, opportunities are many. You know, our basic, all this, whatever I'm speaking is knowledge learned from you in the last 5 years, from our scriptures, that our needs are very basic. Needs are remaining same throughout, before 100 years and now. The basic needs are same. So today, one can earn those needs. People, I do know a community, it's a global community where they earn within 3-4 days working online their needs, and they want to pursue whatever fulfilling to them, even families. So it is challenging, but if you look at it the other way, the opportunities are plenty to meet the needs and pursue what we wish.
So what is the final takeaway, sir?
And takeaway is the distractions are there, but the same distractions are the social media is providing opportunity for people to earn their requirements sitting at home and again not get distracted and pursue their inner voice.
All right. Sinaji, the question you're asking is how to carry on the sadhana, because there are too many distractions that will take you off course. All right. In simple words, you can just give a thumbs up. Is that what you're asking?
The distractions are increasing, so the challenge of turning inwards also are increasing.
Right.
How do we deal with this? Thank you.
Right. The second chapter, which is the 58th verse, when he talks of a man of perfection, he says you must live like a tortoise. Imagine keeping a tortoise in the city center with so much of hush-bush, so much of activity, so much of traffic. It sees all of that as potential danger. So it quickly gets under the shell, it withdraws its 6 apertures, and it's well secure under the hard shell. Nothing can hurt a tortoise. If we were to replicate as suggested in the 58th verse of chapter 2, he says, Kurmonganiva Sarvashaha, where you withdraw all your senses under the hard shell. The hard shell is the intellect. You withdraw it under. Even if you have to go by the example, you and I would be permanently under the shell, because as you say, the temptations, the distractions, the world is pretty formidable. It's too distracting. It can take me off my course. How can I go inward? So therefore, I'll be permanently under the shell. To which in the next mantra he justifies, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah. That one line answers it. The sense objects turn away from an abstinent man, he says. The sense objects here, which are a possible or a potential source of distraction for you, they turn away from an abstinent man. You don't have to do much. What you need to do is you ensure that you don't entertain a demand and supply. The whole principle in life works on the principle of demand and supply. If I entertain the demand, the world will do its part of providing itself to you because you have entertained a desire for it. So have you ever asked yourself, whenever you pass by a toy shop, and one of the famous toy shops in Malaysia is Toys R Us, and also Hamleys. Later on, it kept appearing. So I remember in younger days of Vaishnavi, as she grew up there, whenever there was a requirement or something, you go to the toy shop, and obviously the kind of toys, the kind of variety is nothing what I got when I was growing up. So will I get distracted and start jumping and rolling on the floor that I want this, I want this? Would I complain that all this toy world has evolved so much? Nowadays, the toys will talk robotic toys and whatnot. Would I get excited? Would I get distracted? You have no interest today. You would have no interest 100 years from now, what all the toy world has to offer, because you have no desire for the toys. You have grown out of it. So the object will not present a source of distraction to you because you have no value for it. And that is growth. I'm just trying to magnify it so we get the point. But the moment I have a desire for something that the world has to present instantly, the world will present itself as a distraction. So to answer your question, there are a lot of wisdom is flowing in the chat box. Along with the Guru, many people are thinking aligned differently. Yeah, you should, if you want to be in the classroom, don't think differently. Think along. If you are talking, I will not think different. I'll think along with you. So each of you should refrain from parallel answers so that you become Guru, Mahagurus yourself. Hold on to your comments. If you want to comment after you've heard anybody out, not just me, anybody who is saying, hear them out and then perhaps comment. So the point is demand and supply, sir. So once you don't entertain a demand, means you keep a check on your desire. To that extent, the world will not disturb you. And I'm surrendering to the 59th mantra of the second verse, second chapter. He says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drushtva nivartate. You may have a lingering desire. That lingering desire also will go when you reach the Supreme. Don't worry of the lingering desire, but the sense objects will turn away from a man of abstinence. So don't worry. So if you are saying that the worldly objects are distracting you, is because you have a desire for them. How long it's been that Chat GPT has come? Yes, sir. How long it's been in the market?
About a year and a half, but now it's already evolving into generative AI. So yeah, it's an ongoing, intensifying journey that the pathway is on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Guruji, Pranam. As Thinhaji says, definitely, and also been in line with your thought process, Guruji, but the check and balances are really challenging, like ChatGPT. In fact, I got really amazed with the technology. In fact, I showed you that the ChatGPT 4.0, which is making the life different. In fact, you also put back to me saying that how is it going to be? Of course, you are very, very clear on your thought, but we got tempted because the way the technology is inspiring and creating you a new world. So, but definitely we need to align being in this world. We cannot totally ignore, but we should not so fall prey for those sort of technologies. How far you can able to use it, and where you want to discard it has to be done. But not to be so integrated to the life and think. In fact, it is making, once upon a time, I used to make a letter and draft and check with my ability of my grammar and everything. I used to push it. Nowadays, I'm just putting back onto the Chat GPT. That fellow will check every grammar, everything, and put back to me what I went wrong and what I'm right. So it is also improving the perfection levels. But we don't even draft it and everything. You just speak on and tell that Chat GPT to give it. Then you are surrendering to the technology and your intelligence goes well. So it's a balancing of act where you need to utilize the technology for your development, where you are to not fall prey for the. It's the end of the day, your intellect, I mean to say the one's intellect come into the force of best use of that. Because we are in this world, we may not able to compare what our earliest hold back, because those times we don't have an opportunities. That's my understanding, Guruji.
Yes, sir. But I must say, after you sent, that was the only time I saw it. After that, I didn't see it only.
Yes, that's what I could understand.
It never I've never opened that Chat GPT nor any PT. Nothing I did. You know,
What's the
not that
difference between Guruji and
am I.
Shishmat?
No, no, I'm not trying to impress you. That's what I was about to say. I'm not trying to impress you. I said it has no interest for me. I'm only trying to tell you, when you have no interest in it, how does it matter to you? If it has to elevate you, it will find its way to come to you. The fact that you are thinking of it and you suggested it and you're trying to see how we can implement it, it will find its way. Because my focus is very clear. My thought is on the higher. All these lower things will come and find its way to make it uh, provide you for your journey. But I will not get unnecessarily distracted. Again, I go back to the thumb rule. When you don't entertain a desire, you will not fall a prey to any object of pleasure. It will not be a distraction. The moment something is distracting you, taking you off course, means you are entertaining a desire. So check, come back, as he said, operate on intellect so that you don't lose your focus and purpose. That's important. So many things can happen. Why would you be interested? Another example which I keep giving, you know, I know a number of times, when you keep driving, you keep seeing liquor shops around. Every time I've traveled through uh, uh, airports and duty-free shops, the amount of alcohol and whatnot. What was the varieties available 100 years ago, Sinha? Would you know?
Yeah, yeah, I know is the answer,
What do you?
and it has increased maybe 500-fold.
Thank you. Whether it was Ramji is little glowing. I need to get some wisdom out of Ramji. You can. His camera is so good. I could see he was blushing and glowing and things like that. So Ramji,
Hariom, sir.
say me namaskaram betna, Hariom betna. The truth can't be hidden, sir.
That's not a subject on which I want to display my knowledge.
That means you have little knowledge, no?
Very little, sir.
Okay, sir.
After attending your lectures, I have lost interest a little bit.
Oh,
Not fully, but a little bit.
okay. So some credit you can give to the wisdom, huh?
100%, sir.
So going by the example, sir, would it ever matter to you whether they are one variety, two variety, or 500 varieties? As 500-fold he said increase. How does it matter to you? Because you have no interest in it.
Yeah, exactly. You will develop a want or a desire for it only if you have an interest in that. So like ChatGPT we were talking, I don't even know what is ChatGPT, for example.
Good, sir.
I have never opened, I have never even tried to understand what it is, because I think many of these things which are coming are, I mean, they will definitely increase the level of perfection, as SR was saying. But they are also limiting human mind's thinking powers. Because, I mean, I was told, not I was told, there is a machine which was demonstrated very in your neighborhood only 3 days back, and my friend said, why don't you come, you also see this. That machine, you put all ingredients in that, it will cook and give you the dish. Okay. So, and it is a big new technological invention by some ISP graduates. So, I mean, we had no interest, so we didn't go. But I'm saying that some of these things are, the pleasure of cooking something is gone. Then, so some of them are meant for lazy people. Some of them are meant for people who don't want to exercise their mind. So I have no interest in them. But So that's the point, that if you take interest, then you can get distracted.
True, sir, true. But as long as it serves you, as long as it serves your purpose, you may want to associate with it. You may show interest in it. You may add, if it adds value to your journey and purpose, as long as it doesn't distract you, that amount of control is required. But the principle, again, coming back to is, if there is no desire, there's no distraction.
Yeah.
Even if you have desire and you have control over it, there's no distraction.
Yeah,
Point
so
two.
that's where it is the intellect which finally will play that role. Whether it
Absolutely.
will shut it out 100% or it will allow it 10% or it will allow it 20%. That's all the role of the intellect.
Yeah. Thank you, Jay. So that perfect sense of control, where when you perceive any sensual contact as a potential distraction, then you withdraw. But you give yourself all the opportunity to be in the marketplace, but you don't have to worry because the sense objects will turn away from you. Don't worry at all. I hope that answers, sir. Right. Vijay ji?
Just wanted to share that it's been my lifelong karmic lesson to strike that balance. So when I was on my spiritual quest, where I went very deep, I was leaning more towards vairagya, enlightenment, not wanting, like simplifying the life and not wanting any of the external things. And that took me away from my family. And then when I came back into the world, I went very deep in the business world, and that took away from my sadhana, and I started not enjoying life anymore. So striking that balance, I personally, I could only achieve that by doing daily sadhana and keeping me connected with the higher. Because if I get too swayed in with day-to-day stuff, I don't have time for doing my chanting, or I don't have time to do my meditation, whatever have you, attend a class, then I get sucked into the Maya really, really deep. And that creates more distress in my life. So when I was going through the process of saying, okay, now I'm ready to move forward, but I realized that in order for me to strike that balance and take the next step in my life, I had to drop 90% of my things that were distracting me. And then that was 2 years ago. Now it has reached almost 99%. So when even that 10% felt like I've given up so much, 90%, like 10% I can manage, but even that 10% was feeling very, very heavy. But with regards to Chat GPT, like for example, when designing a website, using Chat GPT is really, really important, because it can give you so much content, so many pages you can add that can add to your Google ranking, which otherwise, as a human mind, we would be stuck hours and hours and hours writing the content. Whereas this one can just generate it just by entering a few rules and do's and don'ts and whatever have you, training it. But the way around I found is that I gave the task to my partner to do it. I said, it's above my pay grade. If you want to do it, you're welcome to do it. Here's a high bit of profit, because I'm anyway moving away from this business world. So if you want to run with it, and make more money out of it, go for it. And that's how I'm able to, keep going into the shell, so to speak.
No, you are able to relate to the idea because you had to balance it, as you say, but and you answered it rightly, which is your own experience, which is right, that as long as if you're not anchored in the higher, you'll easily get distracted. And thereafter, once you're anchored, then you go about acting on what your obligation is. You may not be interested, but if you're obliged to do it, you would do it. If your obligation demands, you can choose not to carry on that action as well. But as long as obligation is there, you will do it. Like, as a son or a husband or as a father, you may have certain roles to play. So you will play that role well without getting distracted or without getting carried away. So the secret is, as you pursue the higher, that's when the lower comes to you. But let not the lower be distracted, because that means you have lost your focus on the higher. And that firmly depends on how clear your intellect is attuned to the goal. These two factors will ensure that. Okay, we'll move on. Mantra 28, please.
अजीर्यताममृतानामुपेत्य जीर्यन्मर्त्यः क्व तदास्थः प्रजानन् अभिध्यायन् वर्णरतिप्रमोदान् अतिदीर्घे जीविते को रमेत.
Which decaying mortal living in the world below, possessed of knowledge, after having approached the undecaying and the immortal, will rejoice in the long life? After he has pondered over the nature of pleasures born of music and sport, which is the beauty and love. So he's summarizing what he clearly mentioned in 26 and 27. Which decaying mortal, referring to all of us, any fellow with an ounce of intellect, that's why I said world possessed of knowledge, after having approached the undecaying and immortal, ajiryatam amrutanam. Ajiryatam means undecaying, amrutanam, the immortal. Means any person with any ounce of wisdom, an ounce of intellect, having got a glimpse of the higher, would he rejoice in the long life? Will he rejoice in the worldly pleasures? So he will not entertain any fascination for the destructible, any fascination for the dying. He will not fall a prey. So you will truly develop a detachment for the lower if you are attached to the higher. Remember this. If you are attached to the self, you will be detached to the world. If you're still interested in the world, if you're interested in politics or interested in what is happening in the world, that means you still have a value for the world. How does it matter here? Who is ruling, who is not ruling? How does it matter? If you're really interested, why don't you become a politician yourself? Try to take the post and try and reform the world. If you're not going to do, why are you wasting your time talking about it? Why are you wasting your time distracted by it? So you can call a religion, in fact, all religions are religion of attachment or religion of detachment. Because what religion is telling us is, as you attach to the higher, the lower you get detached to. So this mantra is not a pessimistic cry of despair, but rather a glorious song of optimism and wisdom. So it's not sarcasm, it's not pessimism. He's only trying to tell one who experiences the higher will not again fall a prey for the lower. Which decaying mortals will seek the pleasures born of music and sport. If somebody is still seeking the pleasures of music and sport, that means he has not understood the higher. Now, the interesting thing is all of this can be experienced in relative degree, right up to a point where you reach the absolute state where the world is illusory. The world has no meaning. It's like when you wake up from the dream, how do you look at the dream, Ashwati?
You would think it's a farce. Like it didn't happen, like it's not real. Like it doesn't matter to you in this real world.
Absolutely. That is from a absolute standpoint, isn't it? Relative standpoint, how you will experience the same. What would you experience?
You would not experience the emotions that you went through in the dream.
No, absolute standpoint is what is the perception of a waker to the dream? He says the whole waking world, whole dream world was unreal, right?
Right.
Would anything that you did in the dream impact you as a waker?
No.
Would any effort you put in the dream transform you in the waker?
No.
Any mishaps or wrong choices you made in the dream is going to affect your fortune in the waking state?
Never.
Nothing, isn't it? So there is no impact of the lower onto the higher. Why? Because you have come out of it. You understand the whole dream world as you said, it's farce, it's illusory, it's unreal. That's the absolute state. Now, relative state, how do you experience the same effect?
When you
At a
say
relative
relative,
level,
right? What is relative?
Relative is not absolute.
Okay.
Don't worry, it's I'm not playing with words. And relative means how do you apply the same principle at your level and my level, at our level? How do we apply it? In the verse, Nachiketa is saying, any person who has that knowledge of the undecaying and the immortal, what will happen to him? He will not fall a prey to beauty and love. He will not fall a prey to music and sport, which he is referring to in the 26th mantra. Now, can this not be experienced at a relative level as well? If one is still falling a prey to the charms of the world, that means
he's not understanding that this is still a farce and he should think higher, but he still dwells in the lower. And that's why he's very involved with the lower desires.
He still falls a prey for the lower because he doesn't understand the ephemeral joys, the impermanent nature, the nature that is not going to give you any happiness or satisfaction. He will still, if he still falls a prey to it, that means he is not understood the higher values of life. So this same truth, what a perception of a waker to the dream can be actually experienced in degree. Relatively, we all will see a sense of transformation in our lives that it's not worth running behind. It's not worth sacrificing my time, energy, and start worshiping it. You will understand if it has to happen, it'll happen. But let me invest my time in something better, something higher, isn't it?
Yes.
There will be that clear, visible change you will perceive towards things. That's the point I'm trying to make, that you will start seeing that change. All right, Ashwati.
Yes. Guruji, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Some of you may not know Ashwati. In fact, Ashwati is one of my old students from Malaysia. In fact, now she is working in US, and it is lovely connecting. And yesterday when we spoke, I told of the Upanishad class, and here she is. Said, yes, Guruji, I'm clinching this opportunity to be here, and glad you are here. And I could not to praise her, but I could sense a serious sense of fervor for this knowledge. In fact, she said, I am waiting. When are you going to start that 2-year weekend program? She said, I know you are waiting for a quorum. And once the quorum is there, I want to commit myself to learn this 2 years of the weekend online course where I will cover all the texts that we teach. So I could, and having known her for many years, I could see the clear appreciation that you have shown or you're showing for this knowledge. I'm very happy for you, Ashwati. Keep it up. So the last mantra, the 29th mantra, concludes the first Valli, so which is the first section. We'll take up that, please.
यस्मिन्निदं विचिकित्सन्ति मृत्यो यत्साम्पराये महति ब्रूहिणस्तत योऽयं वरो गूढमनुप्रविष्टो नान्यं तस्मान्नचिकेता वृणीते.
O death, tell me that in which men have this doubt, which is about the great passing beyond life after death. Nachiketa does not choose any other boon but that of which the knowledge is a mystery. Gudham anupravishtaha, mysterious. Na asya tasmat nachiketa vrunite. I don't choose any other boon. Tell me that about the great passing beyond the life after death. So no temptation, Sinhaji, was enough to entice Nachiketa. No temptation was big enough to entice him away from the aspiration. He aspires to know Atmavidya. So here he is firm and determined to know. Mrityo samprapye means what is the state of Brahman or Atman beyond death. That's what he is questioning. So the first Valli, the first section of these 29 mantras, gives or paints a picture of a young Brahmana. It dramatizes to a point of all how his readiness, and one word that is required for a student is how ready you are to receive the knowledge. Whether you are an adhikari. And I could see that readiness in Ashwati, not to praise her again, please, not to make you uncomfortable, my dear. But as I said, I could see the readiness. She wants this knowledge. Young as you are, you can be interested in many things that the world can offer to you. But she is almost saying, please let me know when you're ready to take this course. I want to join. That determination to learn this wisdom, which is what a teacher looks for. So Yama was so impressed that he found a student who is truly an adhikari. So the emphasis in the first Valli, apart from the story and the backdrop, gives us the qualifications required for a student to study Vedanta. So what are the qualifications to study Vedanta? The qualifications are known as sadhana chatushtaya. Let me write it down so that you get it right. Sadhana chatushtaya. Sadhana chatushtaya means the qualifications required for a student to receive the knowledge of Vedanta, and one who has these qualities becomes an adhikari. So what are the qualifications that's required for a student? The first is viveka. Viveka is discrimination. We have already covered amply through the sections before the verses. Viveka is the discrimination between the real and unreal. And not just discrimination, a firm conviction that Brahman is the reality and the entire phenomenal world is worthless, is unreal. A clear intellectual discrimination. You know what is eternal, what is ephemeral. You have that clarity. You know, you're not clouded in your vision. The second is followed by vairagya, is that spirit of dispassion to the unreal. We're talking of the qualifications which makes a student adhikari. First is clear discrimination between para and apara, which is the higher and the lower, the real and unreal. Second is vairagya towards the unreal, or apara, which is the lower. Sidhuji, you got what I'm saying? Which one, sir? Which part?
Vairagya.
No, I'm just repeating, vairagya is that sense of detachment towards the lower, which is apara. Apara is the lower, or the detachment to the unreal. That's all I briefly said about it. Okay, sir. Right. The third is Shad Sampatti. The Shad Sampatti has got 6 qualities. The first, under the third section, the first point is Shamaha. Shamaha is mind control, where you keep your mind calm, free from the agitations. You keep your mind calm, free from the agitations arising from the desires and the varied emotions. The question is, to what extent is your mind calm? And how long is the mind calm? And the quality to practice is shamaha, calmness of the mind. Second is damaha, is known as self-control, which is at the physical level. I'm not going into the detail of it, but you must control your senses. Physical withdrawal from the senses, or even when you're in contact with the senses, you have a perfect control. So under the Shad Sampatti, first is Shamaha, which is mind control, Damaha, which is self-control. Third is Uparati. Uparati is withdrawal, self-withdrawal from the world. So it is known as the capacity to keep away from the world, because any worldly activity dissipates your energy. A lot of energy gets dissipated. You know, we have got an invitation today to go for a cradle ceremony. My cousin brother called me, cradle ceremony. Where is he doing? He's become a grandfather. He's invited us to now, Vijayji, cradle ceremony is other part of the town, which will take minimum 1.5 hours drive, that too in the evening. And as you know, the Indian standard time, nothing starts on time. And it is a mocktail, is it mocktail or cocktail? I don't know, something he said. Mocktail with dinner, please come with the family. Now, should I go or should I not go, sir?
Well, it all depends
Based,
on the, right?
sorry, sir?
It all depends on the priority and the relationship.
The relationship is there.
Yeah, it's a fine game between obligation and getting to do what you want to do.
But all my life, sir, I have lived a life of withdrawal. So I told, when my parents were telling about this invitation has come, I told, with due respects, I told, don't, I have nothing to do with all these Rakshasas and these invitations by Rakshasas, I told. And I'm openly telling, I hope my brother doesn't listen to my lectures. Otherwise, this fellow will say, this fellow going and telling about I'm a Rakshasa. Rakshasa means anything that distracts you, not that he's a Rakshasa. Anything that distracts you off your course is Rakshasa. So I said, I have nothing to do with it. But I know my parents also not interested to go. Imagine they say, no, I want to go. Then I will become a mere instrument. I'll become a driver. I will take them there. If I don't find alternative, if I can't escape that, I'll say I'll become a driver. I'll take you, go, come back. Which means going 1.5 hours, coming back 1.5 hours, spending an hour or two, and it all going to spill late into the night. And it's a complete colossal waste of time. So to get out of all that, what we need to do is inject Uparati wherever you can, which is a conscious withdrawal from the world, because you perceive that activity as dissipation of energy. Or you will justify and say, oh, how can I not go for an invitation, a family function? How can not this happen? How can you must socialize? There is that balance you must draw. You will find every argument to justify that invitation. In fact, there are people waiting for season to arrive because there will be plenty of invitations. That is their full-time occupation. Oh, the season is gone. So now I'll be very, very boring phase of life because nobody's celebrating. How you look at it. So you can use every opportunity to withdraw, sir.
I have a question about that.
I did not want to interact with you intention. You asking me a question. I only wanted an answer from you. You're putting me in a spot of bother, sir. Never mind. Please go ahead. Please.
All my life, I've been going through the process of trying to be worthy for the higher. And that subconscious thought process always makes me want to engage in, okay, where can I be of service? What can I do to engage the higher and, prove my worth, so to speak, to the higher. But I've come to understand that even in the mundane things of life, if we are able to see the higher within it, then we are always connected. We are always withdrawn from the mundane while being in the mundane. So, for example, your explanation that 1.5 hour drive going there, 1.5 hour drive coming. Oh, that'll be a good time. I can do my chanting along the way. Oh, by going over there to the party, even though it is a waste of my time, so to speak, there might be someone that might be looking to, like, I can create that spark within them that is searching, but they haven't found the connect with the higher, so that I could bring that vibration in that space to help people, for those that are sort of low-hanging fruits that are ready to take that leap into that world. I mean, so are we not able to use the mundane world and see the presence of God in everything? Even though it's difficult if for the untrained mind, but for the trained mind, it's possible, right?
If you're left with no choice to do it, you apply it. If I have no choice but to be present, show myself, or do as I'm obliged to, then you find everything that you do is your dharma, because that's when you are obliged to do. That's when you're opting out of your intellect. You're duty bound. You're not operating on emotions or desire there. Then your mind will remain calm, because primarily you're justified, you have no interest in it, but you're doing it because you're obliged to it. So when you have to do it, then you use this rationale. But the primary choice would be to practice withdrawal, because by itself it is dissipation of energy, which I would get to bed by 8:39. I'm up ready for my sadhana tomorrow morning, and I can do so much of other things than losing 5-6 hours of my day at a time where I'm not ready for it. I'm not available for. But when I say this, yesterday till 10:30, I was having a con call with 3 people, because Ashrama, who is, by the way, she is embarked on a journey of translating the book Wisdom Conversations into Hindi. So it was a first meeting. The first draft had come to me, and I had to set up a meeting, and she's in Calgary, currently in Canada now. So based on her time, so I was sitting right till 10:30, 10:45 at late night, having a con call with 3 different people, going through the transcript. I rather do that than attending a function. I would not call that as out of my comfort zone. In fact, it was, because I was up into a time where I'm not comfortable with, but I was enjoying doing that process, because it's all in my journey. It's going to take me towards my goal. So there is no hard and fast rule. It is always that sense of proportion. You are able to adapt to everything that comes your way. So you weigh the pros and cons. Or I would say, no, I get to bed by early 9 o'clock. I can't take your call at 9:30. Can I say that? No. Somebody is at her age, she's committed to put that kind of effort, and she says, I need your time because it's a time difference and I want to do it. So with pleasure. So this dynamic invitation, you relate to every invitation of the world, and you see whether it fits into my goal, whether it takes me away my goal. And anything that takes you away from your goal, or anywhere you can practice uparati, which is conscious withdrawal, is in fact a quality of a true adhikari. All this makes you worthy of receiving Vedantic wisdom from a guru. All right, Chap.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amitama.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om, ma. Yes, ma.
Sir, this topic of withdrawal, the situation of going in the evening for 3 hours with uncle and auntie and all of that, right? Can we not, I guess it's also related to the next point, which is titiksha, which is to endure sometimes when we don't have a choice. And we can withdraw maybe mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but physically sometimes we can't withdraw. We have to do that because of that obligation, right? So long as we do it cheerfully and we do it with our intellect, and we are still attached to the higher purpose, right? The journey of delivering that obligation of driving your parents, being there for 6 hours, coming back, having a little bit of sacrifice of your sleep that you need before your 4 a.m. in the morning and things like that. If you did that without a grudge, if you did that without, anxiety and agitation, right? We do it as a physical obligation, right? But we can still withdraw. We can still practice uparati by withdrawing emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Is that not possible? Because in the world that we are in today, it's not always easy right? To withdraw completely, as in mind, body, soul, right? So those are my thoughts, sir. What are your comments? So it's not 100% withdrawal physically, but we can be there, but withdraw in other ways. Physical.
See, my only comment to that would be ensure that at no point you're justifying. The chances are at somewhere you are justifying your attachment or desire or anxiety for something that the world is offering. In the name of obligation, in fact, everybody on the other side of it, from a layman's perspective, everybody is doing what they are obliged to do in the name of attachment, isn't it? They're extremely attached to their children, extremely attached to their grandchildren, extremely attached to their job, extremely attached to their wealth, extremely attached to their social life. And then they justify and say, am I not obliged to maintain a certain social contact with the world? I must be in the marketplace. I must. That's what Vedanta says. I'm trying to tell that it's possible that you may justify it and you don't know where you're justifying. To actually check whether you are truly a master of it or whether you're truly justifying, test it by withdrawing and see how your mind behaves. If you withdraw and you see your mind has no, you don't repent, oh, I have missed something and why did I miss that opportunity? If that kind of a repentance or remorse comes in, that means you are attached. The only way to test it is withdraw. So I often say this: the two pedals to growth is knowledge and withdrawal. There's profound amount of knowledge or wisdom that is coming your way of the highest degree. But what is lacking in all of you is withdrawal. There is not enough withdrawal because in the name of action, you are getting carried away in your so-called duties and responsibilities, and you're not withdrawing enough to allow this wisdom to settle down. You all have to inject this wisdom with withdrawal. Inject as much withdrawal you can from the world. Is not escapism. Withdrawal so that you can contemplate on the wisdom. But if you use every opportunity of the invitation of the world to justify and say, oh, I must be in it and out of it, am I really there? Have I really reached that exalted state where I can practice true renunciation in action? One who has reached a higher wisdom can practice it. But for sadhana, you must ensure uparati. And where you can't, but you have to go through, as rightly said, endurance. The fourth quality is titiksha, where you go through pain or difficulty or suffering without lamenting. You don't lament at it. You don't complain. You go through it with pleasure. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So only point is don't justify. You ensure you don't justify. Okay? Yes, Harish?
Guruji, two thoughts I would like to share and add in this context. I have been practicing withdrawal more so now than ever before. And when I'm, example, not fulfilling certain so-called obligations or activities like an outing for a relative, I am being accused of being selfish for not attending it. And I've come to a stage where it does not affect me anymore. Name calling doesn't affect me anymore. I've risen past it. I have been told off and saying, who do you think you are? How can you not attend it? You got an invitation. So I have, with the knowledge and the teachings that I'm getting from Vedanta, I have learned to overcome these verbal taunts by people where no longer matters. It is just their opinion and they're entitled to it. Number two, Guruji, sorry, I lost my track. I'll come back to it if I remember the second point. I wanted to discuss it along this line, but sorry, I lost my thought to someone.
No problem. Sure.
So I just wanted to share that first point with you, please.
I continue to disregard the world.
Yes, I am. I
Don't
am
worry.
on that path. I'm on that path.
Yeah. Thank you, Ji. Thank you. So the first is under the Shat Sampatti is Shamaha, Damaha, Uparati, Titiksha. The fifth is Shraddha. Shraddha, even though it's translated as faith, but Shraddha is a capacity, it's an intellectual capacity to pursue, to be in the pursuit until it takes you to the goal. So Shraddha is that capacity to be in pursuit until you reach the goal. And the sixth is Samadhana, which is a state of tranquility or poise, where you are able to sit single-pointedly and contemplate. Samadhana, a state of tranquility, a state of poise, where you are able to single-pointedly contemplate. So under the third category of Shat Sampatti, these six qualities. And in the fourth point is Mukshatva, is that intense longing or a burning desire for liberation. So it's Viveka, Vairagya. Under the Shat Sampatti, it is Shamaha, calmness, Damaha, self-control, Uparati, self-withdrawal, Titiksha, endurance, Shraddha is faith, Samadhana is tranquility, and the fourth point is Mumukshatva, is an intense longing or desire for liberation. Now, all these qualities make me an adhikari to receive Vedantic wisdom from a guru. Again, this is relative and absolute. Correct, Shivaji. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. In the Gita it is said. So Shraddha is mention of one who has that Shraddha. So even when you receive the knowledge from the Guru, you must have the Shraddha to get up at the Brahma Muhurtam and do your sadhana until you get the wisdom from the knowledge. Until you convert the knowledge into wisdom, you must do the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And you achieve that, you must have the Shraddha. So to the extent you have these qualities, to that extent you are qualified to be an Adhikari. And Nachiketa has passed out in flying colors, the top grade student. Yes, Ramji?
I was just thinking that if somebody has achieved all these things, all the four, then does he really need a guru? I mean, he has already reached that level of Vedantic or spiritual journey that he is almost there. I mean, that's what I am saying, that because anybody who passes all these tests will be very rare.
Nachiketa is one of that student, I said.
I know.
So the more intense you have these qualities, to that extent you need that less help from a guru. But still, Nachiketa, with all that qualification, he needed that formal direction or formal advice from a teacher. So he's able to absorb everything that a guru gives. Now, even in a classroom like this, there are varied students of varying degrees of these qualifications. So a student who has less of these qualifications, he is able to absorb that much less than the other who is more qualified. But the teacher is giving the same knowledge. I'm giving the same teachings, but the absorption of each of you is varied based on what is your level of adhikari. And the higher the qualification, the less advice you need or the less push you need to reach you to your goal. So a person perhaps who has all these qualities, he's in the verge of realization. He just needs that little nudge.
Yeah.
Sir, remember the example we take of a coconut to a temple?
Yeah.
You take a coconut in a form where you remove the coir, don't you? You remove the coir, but you don't take the coconut without a tuft. No temple will accept, because the job of the pujari is to remove that last tuft. So a student with all these qualities is like approaching a guru, is like taking a coconut with a tuft.
Okay.
And only a guru can take care of the last desires. You can't do anything. So even when you magnify these qualities, sorry, sir?
I was saying that these are not like admission criteria. If these are not there, Guru will not accept you. Guru
No, you will not
still...
find, you will not be with the guru if you don't have these qualities. You will be somewhere in the marketplace, in the world, running behind. You will meet me in some function, some club, somewhere, you will find me. You will not find me in this classroom, because the guru and Shishya both are unqualified. Where are you? In the marketplace. If you want to find a guru in the classroom, you also must practice withdrawal. The guru also must practice withdrawal for all these qualities.
Okay, sir.
So it's not that you're being put to test to enter, but one who has this automatically finds himself in a classroom like this, or in pursuit of this wisdom.
Okay.
So you will be automatically self-disqualified, because you are not worthy enough to pursue it beyond a point. Because beyond a point, I'm not able to practice withdrawal. Beyond a point, I'm not able to keep my mind calm. I'm not able to practice Shraddha. So when you're, as a student, you're not able to practice Shraddha, what happens? The guru has that limited role, because you're not available. So without these qualities himself is disqualified for higher wisdom. The guru doesn't have to do anything. In fact, don't we say this, sir? When the student is ready, the guru will come to you. So it's you not going to the guru will come to you. And what makes the guru come to you is you having these qualities. So you keep intensifying these qualities. The guru will find a way to come and teach this knowledge to you. So only our job is to make ourselves worthy of receiving. Don't complain. The knowledge will come. Somehow it will come. So don't worry, Ashwati. Somehow that 2-year weekend course will come to you. You just keep knocking at the door. How sincere you are, it will find its way. Okay. So with this, the first Valli, iti Kathopanishad, Prathama Adhyaya, Prathama Valli. First section, the 29 mantras. And we come back the next week, we'll start the second Valli, which is the second section of chapter 1. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.